And we're back, and Ken Karsmizki is with me, and we are talking about Lewis and Clark. And before we went to break, he was explaining about this piece of land that basically he had NASA's help in identifying, and then there was some drilling that took place, and nothing was found at first, and that's where we left things off. So let's pick it up right there.
Right.
I mean, you drilled these holes, nothing really came of it.
The holes that we're doing essentially are about 10 inches or so square, and we actually do it with a trowel so that we can see things and ideally see things before they move, because that would be a key thing. And as I was saying, in one area, we did 36 of these holes essentially in a grid. And then we moved over to another, did about another 36. And then we moved into a third area. The third area is where, if you go there today, it's the graveled area. And that's where some interpretive signs are. And the thing that we found out when we got to that area is that there's 7 feet of fill on top of the historic surface.
And where did that come from?
I wish I knew.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is that it's huge pieces of rock, it's all kinds of fill, there's all kinds of historic debris. I suspect that either when the interstate was being built or when they were blowing through the frontage road there, they had excess material and they just said, okay, we'll fill this hole in and we'll make a gravel place, not realizing that that was it. Now there's a good side to that and a bad side to that. Because they filled it in, no one did anything with it. The bad side to that is also that because they filled it in with literally tons of debris, they crushed anything that was there. So that may impact what we find. In the course of our excavations, we were able to find things that would associate with native people who lived here. Grinding stones, what we would call as archaeologists projectile points. A lot of people call that an arrowhead or a spear point. We could find those things. We could also find bone, utilized bone, so we could see what people were eating. But we also knew that that was not Lewis and Clark, because they weren't using those projectile points. One of the other things that we found was the skull, what appears to be the skull of a dog. And the reason I say appears to be is because I was talking about all of this weight crushing this. This is bone that is only held together by the dirt that it's in. And if we tried to pick it, it would just turn to dust. And so we're pretty sure that it's a dog skull, but we can't see the shape. If we did DNA on that, we could confirm it. And the reason that would be important is the night before Lewis and Clark got here, they bought 40 dogs. Why would they buy 40 dogs?
Yeah.
They're red meat eaters. They can't deal with salmon. They can't hunt deer. They haven't been able to find any game, so they buy dogs. And what I believe is they couldn't have eaten 40 dogs in one night, so they had to bring some forward to Rock Fort. We found what appears to be a dog skull. And then the other thing that we've been able to find is pieces of leather, strips of leather that what we know is that based on the journals, while they were here, for the first time since Idaho, they found 5 deer, shot them. What they'll do is process those skins. They'll make shirts, they'll make moccasins, and anything that they cut off as just an extra piece will go on the ground. Preservation is good. The leather preserved. What we can do with the leather is DNA. Is it dog? Is it deer?
And are you doing that?
If I had funding, I would. Everything costs money. And so that's basically where it stopped. It was trying to get funding for DNA, try to get funding for radiocarbon dating and so forth. We also found twisted fibers. And those are things that they could have done. By the same token, those are things that the Indians could have made. And that's really what we have to sort out. Are we seeing evidence of Indians, Wasco, Wishram, Klickitat, in their campsite there, because they were trading and they would receive beads. They would receive tinkler cones. They had dogs as well.
Sure.
They would eat deer as well. So what we have to do, like that piece of basket, so we have to say it's not 1,500 years old, it's 200 years old. Now you're in the right area, and that's really the key.
Wow. Oh man, we could definitely carry this conversation on for a long time, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to. So, but before we go, I want to just know, where are you as far as your opinion of cold, hard proof that Lewis and Clark was here?
Archaeologists would say that you don't guess, but gut level, I think the things that we have come up with at Rockfort are theirs.
So the history that we know is pretty accurate.
It's pretty accurate, and it is so unusual that you have a town essentially built up totally surrounding this. You have an industrial area on one side, an interstate and a railroad on the other side, an urban area on the other side.
And that area
And
is
what's
still,
the chance that
yeah.
10 acres would be untouched, virtually untouched?
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, Ken, thank you so much.
You bet.
Really a
Thank
pleasure
you.
and
Thank you.
very enlightening experience, and would love to, like I said, continue the conversation at a later date. So.
You bet.
All right. You guys, thanks again for watching. We will see you next time right here on Localite. John Compton here saying thanks again for watching. And remember, if you've got a guest idea, let us know. Just visit localite.com.